How many of you know who this little boy is? Probably not a lot of you. I bet more of you know who that man is, though. Both of them are the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. He's more known as an adult, though, because he became infamous for becoming a prolific serial killer. There's a lot of things that most people don't know about him, though, and I'm going to talk about just a few of them. First, at age 14, he became an alcoholic and was regularly drunk. Another is that he was a class clown, and according to the Washington Post, November 1st, 2017, a friend of Dahmer's remembers seeing him in the hallways and stuff, often mocking conditions like cerebral palsy, just trying to get people to laugh. Another thing is that his first kill was 3 weeks after he graduated high school. He claimed he often dreamed about abducting a hitchhiker and killing him, and that's what he did. He took him back to his house, they got drunk, had sex, and then he hit him over the head with a barbell, knocked him unconscious, and strangled him. That same summer, Dahmer's parents got divorced, and when his father remarried, he and his stepmom didn't get along at all, so he decided to join the army. He was a medic for the army, but he literally could not stand the sight of blood. And a lot of people think that this is because of his first kill, but regardless, this just made his drinking problem a lot worse. According to James Jennifer's article, last reviewed March 2017, he was an active serial killer from June 18, 1978. That was when his first kill was, and there's a long break in between his next kill, which started November 1987 through July 1991. His killing started back up again when he returned to Wisconsin. He would frequent gay clubs, and he would slip sleeping pills into guys' drinks and then rape them. He got kicked out up to 12 times, but not before killing another victim. He claims he blacked out and woke up to Steve Toomey being dead, his chest caved in, and blood coming out of his mouth. He called a cab so he could take the remains back to his grandmother's house. And when he was loading the body in a bag in the trunk, the cab driver said to him, "What do you got in there, body?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." And the cab driver just kind of laughed it off, thinking he wasn't serious. And that's one of many times Jeffrey Dahmer was almost caught. Another was after his first kill. He got pulled over with the body in his car, and he was drunk, and the officer just let him go. Another time, his victim escaped his house while he was at work, and Dahmer came home, and the victim had come across 3 women who had called the police to help him, but by the time the police got there, Dahmer just convinced the police that it was his boyfriend who was drunk, and they had just gotten in a fight, and the police just let him go back inside the house and left the situation alone and kind of told the women to back off. Dahmer also worked all during the times of his kills except for the first. He worked at a chocolate factory in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And so a lot of people were kind of skeptical and thought he might have tampered with the chocolate, but there's no evidence to verify that. There's also a lot of evidence, though, that pointed to the fact that he didn't actually want to kill. First, after his first victim, he got rid of all the evidence and he destroyed the bones so there were no evidence left, and they thought that that was just a way for him to kind of act like the crime didn't even occur. Another was the giant time gap between his first and second victim. And lastly, every time he killed after his first, he had to be super drunk so that he really could commit the crime. Now, from his first victim, he didn't take any trophies, but his second victim, he kept his skull for a few weeks before he boiled it in cleaning liquid, and that completely dissolved and got rid of any kind of remains from the body. So he was never actually officially charged with that death since it couldn't find any remains. He also tried to turn some of his victims into zombies. At first he just used a sleeping pill, but then he started to drill holes in their skull and pour boiling water into their brain. He wanted them to become zombie sex slaves, but that never worked, obviously, because it just killed his victims. And finally, according to the Washington Post from February 18, 1992, Dahmer was given a life sentence for killing 15 people. He later, however, did admit to killing 17. And 3 years after being in prison, he was told by the guards to clean the gymnasium, and the guards immediately turned around while another inmate beat him to death. And the inmate claimed that he beat him to death because he didn't like how Dahmer acted inside the prison, and that he didn't like how he would take his food and make it look like limbs and stuff of people to disgust other inmates. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from Dahmer, and he said, "It's hard for me to believe that a human being could have done what I've done, but I know I did it."
Serial killers are an interesting topic, but was there a reason you specifically chose Jeffrey Dahmer?
Was there a reason I specifically chose Jeffrey Dahmer? Since they just made a movie about him, I just figured he was more of a well-known serial killer.